is poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl DOPEaxxPANA, and I'm super excited because today I will be giving you guys a super detailed tutorial on how you guys can achieve super full boho braids. As always, I teamed up with one of my favorite hair companies, YWigs, and we're gonna get into a quick unbagging. I have like a braid starter kit. It comes with a stitch tool, an edge brush, a comb, and the alligator clips. I really absolutely love these clips. They are my favorite to use, and this time they actually sent grip clips, which I was really excited to try out because I've been seeing these go viral all over TikTok and they're great for boho braids. So I'll be demonstrating how to use those today as well. And they sent me 4 bundles of their loose curly and 20 inches, and I'm starting to realize that anytime you want any type of full boho or Bora Bora braids, you're definitely gonna need 4 bundles. These are nice and full. I'm just showing you guys the thickness of it in the original curl pattern, and I always like to break off a piece just so I can see how that curl is gonna form. I personally don't wash the bundles before using them, but you totally can because these are 100% human hair. But I'm gonna get straight into the prep for you guys today. Prepping for boho braids is essential. It will literally save hours on your install time. So to do that, we're gonna open up our bundle. We're gonna break off a small piece and always comb out the top, which is gonna remove those filler hairs. To get the least amount of filler hairs, you wanna make sure that you're purchasing double drawn or super double drawn boho hair. Single drawn hair will have a lot more filler hair, and we don't want that because that's gonna not allow our knotless to look as full as we want it to look. So next, I'm gonna take a little bit of product, I'm gonna rub it on the top of that section, and I'm gonna begin to break off small pieces. And I'm gonna do this until I have prepped as many bundles as I can on my tray. I have prepped up to 3 bundles before. The more you do, the less you have to stop, and that's gonna make your install time go a lot quicker. For braiding hair, I'm actually using 1 pack of the Dope collection. I did cut off the tip of it, and I'm gonna go ahead and refeather it just because I'm not doing these super long on my client. For my super full boho braids or any type of Bora Bora braids, I'm using very minimal braiding hair because we don't want these braids to be too heavy, and also it allows your client to be able to style these braids a lot better. And I will be showing you guys that at the end of the video. The least amount of braiding hair that you can use is best. You will get the fullness from adding in those boho pieces. I didn't get a video of me prepping the braiding hair, but if it's something that you guys need to see, you can let me know in the comment section down below and I can create a separate video for that. So I'm gonna start off by parting off the nape of my client's neck. There's gonna be 2 rows below the ear, so I'm just parting from ear to ear. And I'm doing a medium size today, so it's gonna be a total of 7 rows, 2 at the nape and 5 above the ear. After parting and sectioning this off, I'm gonna take this bottom section and split it into 2, and this is gonna create my 2 rows at the nape of my client's neck. Now for medium size, usually for this first row, I'm gonna put 4 braids on it. If they have a larger nape, 5 braids, but I really don't like to tell people how many braids to put in a row because everybody's head is different. No head is gonna usually be the same, so I don't count how many braids I put, but the nape of the neck is usually pretty much the same. So I'm gonna be splitting this into 4 braids, and I'm gonna show you guys how I build those braids up. Now, I left this clip in regular speed so that you guys can see how I built this braid. I'm gonna start off by applying some product to the root and really just making sure I comb that through. So I'm gonna start by splitting this section into 3, and when I do my first rotation, I'm gonna add in that first piece of braiding hair. This is a preference of mine. I know some people like to start with their client's natural hair, so they will do 3 rotations before they add that first piece, but I like to add my first piece in. You guys can see how small that is because this will kind of anchor the root of the braid and allow it to last longer. So basically what I just did was slip that in between my pointer and my thumb finger, and I'm gonna continue braiding, and I'm gonna do this a total of 3 times so that each leg of my braid has synthetic braiding hair on it and it's even. So this is my second piece that I'm adding in. You guys can see I put that side of it over my pointer finger. I continue braiding, and I'm gonna do this 1 more time, and this is gonna pretty much create the base of our boho braid. I do tend to flip my hand positioning a little bit quicker when hair is shorter, just because I feel like I can get a better grip this way, and because my client's hair was really fine back here, I just wanted to make sure I was holding it really tight. I'm gonna now add in my first piece of the boho hair, and I'm gonna put the part that we put the product on right under my thumb and continue braiding. I don't know if you guys saw where I was kind of tapping. That's where I anchor that hair, and then I'm going to put the part that is going to be left out in the comb, and I'm going to continue braiding. The comb kind of acts as like a clip for me. I'm going to show you guys again. I'm going to lay that straight piece right over the piece that's on my thumb, and then I'm just going to continue braiding it in. The comb will also allow the boho hair not to move or slip up and down, so that way it's kind of anchored and I can just kind of braid the straight part in. You want to make sure that you're braiding in at least an inch of that boho hair. That's going to ensure that it's not going to come out when it's pulled or when your client is running their fingers through it. That's really important because a lot of people talk about shedding. I never really experienced shedding with my boho braids, but like I said, you want to make sure that you're braiding enough of that human hair in. It's very normal when you're adding in those boho pieces to have the straight ends stick out. Sometimes they are very hard to tuck in the braid. You can always just cut them off as soon as you're done with the braid, or you can cut them off after. What I'm basically doing is adding in a piece of boho hair every inch. I'm going to be adding 6 pieces at the nape of the neck and then braiding 2 pieces into the end for a total of 8 pieces. At the nape of the neck, I don't really focus too much boho hair here because it's on our neck, it rubs our clothes and everything, and it tangles a lot at the back. So you want to make sure that you focus more of that fullness at the top, but I do like to add a little bit of fullness at the bottom in case they do certain styles where the bottom of this is going to be exposed. But I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces down the braid, and then I'm going to be braiding the human hair into the ends. So you guys can see when you have about a couple inches left is when it's time to braid that hair in. I'm going to take that straight edge and I'm going to basically add it in like I would add in the regular boho pieces, but this time I'm going to be braiding in both sides, so I'm not leaving that out. I'm braiding in both sides. I broke that piece down because you want this to be smaller pieces when you're braiding it into the ends, because remember the braiding hair is thinning out in this area, and if you don't make those boho pieces a little bit smaller, you're gonna have like a lump at the end of the braid, and that's not gonna look good. So we want to make sure that we're using smaller pieces of the boho hair to braid in so that our braid is nice and seamless. You guys probably cannot even tell that I added in those pieces. Next, I'm gonna pull off a small piece, and I'm gonna be using this to tie a knot and to seal the braid at the end. I'm also gonna be using a small dab of nail glue to kind of secure this knot. I would never use nail glue anywhere close to my client's hair, so just be wary of that. And you also want to make sure you're using a very small amount, because if this is used in excess, it will turn white. So usually I'll put a small little dab and then tie the knot a couple times over it just to make sure it's super secure. I know what you guys are thinking, why not use hair glue? That's what hair glue is for. Well, hair glue takes forever to dry in comparison to nail glue, and so it tends to like make it slip, and so that's why I prefer to use the nail glue. After doing the 2 rows at the nape of the neck, I'm then going to pre-part out the top section of my client's hair. I especially do this when I have a new client just because I want to make sure that I kind of map out those rows so that I don't run out of space and I can get them as even as possible. So I do a part ear to ear, and then I find my client's middle part. Even if they want a side part, I still find my client's middle part and base my rows off of that. And yeah, I'm just going to pre-part out these front rows, and then as I'm braiding, I'm going to connect it to the middle section. And that's why I say this is an advanced braider's pre-part, because I'm not pre-parting out the entire rows. I just feel like it takes too long for me and it's not necessary. I don't need to do that. So these parts are just rough drafts. You want to make sure you're not using product on them because it's just a waste. You're going to go back in and kind of redefine them anyway. You guys can see that I did 10 rows across my client's head. That's 5 on each side. Like I said, these are rough drafts, so if they're not perfect, it's okay, as long as you can kind of get an idea of how you're going to map those parts out. Next, what I'm going to do is when I'm ready to work on a section, I'm going to take down that braid and I'm going to define that part, and I'm going to be connecting it to the middle section. Now remember, I said this is a pre-part, it's a rough draft. You guys can kind of see that I took some off of that first row. If you guys notice that a part is too thick or too thin, then you guys can kind of adjust it in this section. Now, when I go ahead and define this row, I'll be using the product. A helpful tip to check your parting is you're going to take each side of it and you're going to kind of roll it in the opposite direction, and you'll be able to see the thickness of your part. You guys can see how I can really see if my part is curving in any type of weird way. It's just an easy way to help define your part and make sure that it's the same thickness all the way around. So in this next clip, I'm going to show you guys not only how to use the grip clip, but also how to add fullness at the base of your boho braids, because when you're doing full boho braids, if you guys don't add a piece on each side at the root, you're not going to get that fullness that you want at the base. It's going to be kind of like flat at the top. I stuck the grip clip in. So far, I was kind of like, it was hard to put in, so I was like, I don't know. I like clips that kind of just slide in, but basically, the point of it is to hold that boho hair. So when you add in a piece, you guys can lift that boho hair piece up and it'll be secure in the clip. I think this is so clutch. I absolutely love it. Like I said, if I could get a clip that would just slide into my client's hair naturally, then it would be perfect. But you guys can see how I added that boho piece on the left and the right side, and I'm doing this before I even add in a piece of braiding hair. I'm then going to add in my 3 pieces of braiding hair, and this is going to allow your boho braids to be a lot fuller at the root. Now, for all the sections above the ear, I'm going to be doing this to create fullness. And to be honest, guys, I really don't even count how many pieces I'm putting in each braid. I'm kind of just adding a piece in every ½ an inch. You want to kind of build those boho braids up and make them look full. And the greatest thing is that you can just use your eyes and you can see how your boho braids are progressing. And if you want them fuller, then as you do the next row, you add in more pieces. I tried to count this braid. It looks like I added in 11 pieces. So you're gonna do 2 pieces at the top, and then you're gonna do 9 pieces down the braid. And then I'm also gonna be braiding an additional 2 pieces into the end of the braid. This is why I say I love when I have 4 bundles, because I don't have to worry about having enough hair to use. I can kind of just add those pieces in as I need. And even if I don't always use the full 4 bundles, it's nice to have a little bit of cushion to work with. When doing full boho braids, you want to make sure that you guys are using a super high quality human hair, which is why I love YWigs hair. This is 100% human hair, so it can be washed, it can be straightened, and the longevity of it is amazing and it's super affordable, guys. Those bundles are really, really thick. I actually have a wholesale account with YWigs, so this is the hair that I use on all my clients whenever they book boho braids, and they absolutely love it. This is actually my first time using the loose curly texture, and I absolutely love the way that it looks. Remember, whenever you're using curlier textures, it is a little bit more maintenance, but honestly, the straighter textures are a little harder too, because you do have to go back in and restyle them. Otherwise, sometimes they'll fall flat. But I absolutely love the variety that YWigs offers with their curl patterns, and I'm super excited for you guys to see how these turned out, because I could tell just the way that they were going that these were gonna look fire. So I'm super excited for you guys to see how these actually turn out. Also, I want to speak about the length of the boho hair. So this is 20 inches, and I love doing 20 inches because it's so much easier to make the hair full. Remember, the longer the boho hair, the less pieces that you have to add to get that fullness, and that's why I love to use 20 inches as opposed to 18. Also, whenever I'm doing longer braids, I know my clients like to have those longer boho pieces. You don't want super long braids and your boho pieces are stopping super short. It just doesn't complement the look. So 20 inches is usually my go-to. I'm usually fine. You can definitely get away with 18. But yeah, I love using 20 inches. So this is my last braid, guys. This install took me a total of 6 hours from start to finish. And that is with me not prepping as I usually do. I actually got to the salon at the same time as my client, so I wasn't able to fully prep. I had to stop a couple times, but you guys can definitely save time on your install by prepping before your client arrives. Usually if you set aside an hour to an hour and a half, you'll have time to prep most of your bundles, and it'll literally make everything smooth sailing for you guys. Now, if you're someone who's like, I literally hate prepping and I don't want to do that, YWigs also offers pre-divided, pre-section boho hair that's on their website. So go ahead and click the link in my bio or in the description section, and you guys can go ahead and check out all that they have to offer. So I wanted to really show you guys how I have these super full boho braids, but I'm still able to style them really well. The install is actually complete. I didn't do any type of dipping or anything because I wanted this curl pattern to kind of stay true. But you guys can see how I'm able to pull this all up with one hand and how full and how beautiful that ponytail looks. This is why it's super important that you're not using too much braiding hair, because you want your client to have some versatility and be able to style their hair without it being too much. But guys, look how amazing that looks. Look how beautiful those curls are. We actually ended up styling it a couple different ways, so I'll show you guys a little bit of that. And yeah, let me know if this tutorial was helpful for you guys. I hope that by me breaking it down, you guys can achieve this look on your own. I know I've been seeing a lot of discourse on the internet about boho braids, and a lot of clients have been saying like, oh, I asked for full boho braids and they barely put any more hair in it. Y'all, this is a lot of work, so please tip your braiders. I really hope that you guys are charging your worth for boho braids. They should be no cheaper than $300, especially if you're providing hair. Oh girl, yeah. But shout out to YWigs. I love their hair. Their textures are always super beautiful and amazing. So let's get into this finished look. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. And if there's anything else that you guys want me to teach or want me to share with you guys, let me know in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Big Pana tutorials, lives, reviews, yeah, all that. Big Pana, not the little one. What you mean? Big box braids on your top, yeah, add it up. Gang finna hit a milli, yeah, add it up. Pana, can you post a vid? I've been really booked and busy, but I got you, sis. Big subs, box braids, and they tug. Dropping gems, tell your friends, yeah, let's run it up. Big likes, drop a comment or we finna fight. Cause why wouldn't you like, comment, and subscribe to my videos? Like, that's weird.